Everyone be professional.
3,
2,
2,
1. Professional E2 Performance.
E2 Performance. Welcome to another episode of E2 Performance. We have YuMove today.
I am YuMove.
I am YuMove.
You move, I move, we all move.
Where'd you get the name?
My last name is YU, so,
He went with the movement train.
And, there's that one Instagram.
Eric and I started that, you know that, right?
We did not. Nobody owns the word move.
Beyond
What do you mean?
movement. That was 2 years ago.
So we've got Newton here.
How's it going?
Good. So you are a registered massage therapist?
I am a registered massage therapist.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I focus more on like the sport and rehab and prehab and preventative injury side of things. So my massage is usually like an open table, open setting setup.
Yeah.
So like you're not taking your clothes off. It's not a closed room or like a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going under sheets or anything like that. It's very active.
Mm-hmm.
Even though your hour of massage, it's not going to be a full hour of me touching you and like doing techniques on you. It's going to be me trying to like assess you, work on you, give you exercises, get you moving, get you strengthening.
So you specifically like to
Interesting.
work with injuries and optimizing movements
100%.
more than just like a relaxing style
100%.
massage.
Exactly. Even though there's nothing wrong with the relaxing massage, I think that what I'm trying to do is just really help the active population, or even just your random Joe Blow that's trying to get out of pain.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to help people move better and live their life without thinking like, okay, I'm going to reach something and my elbow hurts, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get you moving properly. Let's get you living your life.
That's very interesting. I have a lot of clients who would be stuck at a desk for 4 hours at a time, a little break, and then another 4, a little break, another 2 or 3. And every time it's like, oh man, my neck, my traps, like I just need to go for a massage.
This.
Are those your typical clients?
When I first started, it wasn't. When I first started, I really loved to work with like CFLers, footballers,
Yeah.
powerlifters, weightlifters,
Athletes.
The more I kind of go along my journey in massage therapy, I actually really do like working with Gen Pop, like you're talking about, the people that are sitting at their desk all day, because those are the people that are really suffering without really thinking about it as much. And I want to help those people because they get the most out of it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think speaking to that point as well, I think you would come from a very good place because you do believe in movement and exercise. Gen Pop, who sits at a desk and doesn't move, when they come and see you, if they're recommended to see you by somebody, you might be able to inspire or prescribe actually doing a little bit of activity rather than nothing. So you would actually a person and be like, because I've been to some massage therapists over the past 20 years where it's just like, oh, you're sore, rub, come see me again in 2 to 3 weeks. Whereas you might be more active, being like, you know what you should do? You should incorporate this exercise into your program. And they're like, well, I'm not exercising. Oh, well,
This is your exercise now.
I can see.
This is your homework for the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks before you see me again. If you're going to see me again,
follow these little exercises, and then hopefully that turns into a snowball effect where maybe they're actually a little bit more motivated to do a little bit more than just your physio.
Normally it's like, oh, now their body feels better now, and they're just gonna move because they do feel good. It's just like how your nervous system is.
So the target of this episode is, I went off on a pretty ranty tangent about choose your suffering. Either you're going to suffer from activity or you're going to suffer from inactivity. That's why we brought you on here to talk a little bit about that, because you deal with people who are suffering constantly, whether it's from both realms, whether it's from activity or inactivity, being Gen Pop.
Definitely.
But before we dig into that, I think it's important people know who you are, a little bit about you.
For sure.
What's Baby Newton like?
What was Baby Newton like? Let's see.
What was Baby Newton interested in?
I loved watching
I can't wait to hear.
TV. I absolutely loved watching TV as a kid.
Did you? As a kid?
You
I
still
watched
do?
so much TV. I watch not as much TV now, but it's when I was little, I just loved anime. I loved watching cartoons.
Was
and,
like top 3 shows?
Dragon Ball.
Boom.
Nice.
100%. Dragon Ball's huge. Digimon and Pokemon, obviously.
Yeah, classic.
Dragon Ball.
Classic. But
Yeah.
Dragon Ball
Imagine
for
they can
sure.
see this.
Yo, the poster, sick. That was like the first thing I saw when I came in here.
That's a
This is
legit
awesome.
Dragon Ball poster, yeah.
Yeah. That, and I loved playing sports. I actually just loved every single sport. I played every single sport. It was like basketball, soccer, badminton, volleyball.
What was the favorite?
favorite was definitely basketball growing up.
Yeah.
And then
We're gonna have to add that to our list.
yeah,
Of,
we're
things to do
gonna
later.
do some
You
more
guys are
things,
just
man.
getting a little romance.
Then in junior high, got into more badminton, I guess. And
Yeah.
then high school, I didn't have the confidence to actually play team sports. So all I did was lift weights. And I loved lifting weights after that. It was just, that's how I got into it.
Yeah.
And then I got into powerlifting. And then I got into weightlifting. And then now I'm kind of like doing a little bit of everything, I guess.
All
Like
of
I've always just loved exploring different movements and like different
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
So like now I'm just like, okay, what's my next thing I want to really get into? Not be the best at, but learn and
Yeah.
then move on.
General activity, like
Yeah.
jack of all trades, master of nothing
100%,
almost.
just like you.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
CrossFit.
very
And CrossFit.
CrossFit boy over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I love CrossFit too. Like I'm also CrossFit coach. Like I have my
CFL
CFL.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like I loved CrossFit. I was just like, this is sweet. You know, like for the person that doesn't have the time to do everything, this is like the best
Yeah.
thing for them.
Sprinkles it all in
Yeah.
nicely.
And not even that, like if you played sports when you were younger, it's like the competitive aspect of it. It kind of brings
100%.
back those feelings.
Yeah.
Like you look someone in the eye and you see how tired they are, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna mess you
Yeah.
up. Like
I'm
you
dying,
won't-
you're dying. I'm gonna,
We're all gonna die.
yeah. Let's all die together.
So you do massage now, you've done coaching, you've done personal training,
Yeah.
you've kind of done all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I don't think Eljay and I have even talked about it, but what did you want? Like, where did you see yourself? Like, when you're like 16, 10? Like, what? I'm assuming you
even-
didn't want to be massaged when you were growing up.
100% not. I didn't even take biology in high school.
Yeah.
I took all the physics courses, all the courses that I needed for like marketing, business. Accounting, like that stuff. Like as being a Chinese Canadian, I had that engraved in me. It's like business.
Get a degree.
Some
in
sort
business.
of degree. And like that just never fit in my mind. Even though I loved math, I loved sciences, I loved physics, it just didn't make sense in my head.
Yeah.
Then after that, I was just like, okay, what do I want to do? I moved on when I was 18. I still can figure out what I did. So I just worked jobs, did everything. At one point, I wanted to be a chef. Obviously, my parents were not big on that either.
Yeah.
Kind of pushed me away from it. I still love cooking now. But then at one point, I was like, okay, I love powerlifting. Let's learn more about it. I got my personal training certificate, started training people. And I was like, okay, I'm injured myself. Where do I go from here? So I started seeing a bunch of like different practitioners. And I was like, okay, how do I get my body better? Because I'm getting beat up from powerlifting. And I couldn't find the solution.
Yeah.
Until I found Dr. Justin Tan in Calgary. He's a chiropractor. He does, when I first met him, he did a lot of like FRC, which is like functional range conditioning, like a lot of movement joint training.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me into it. And he was kind of like, if you really like this, but you don't have the time to go to school because you need a undergrad and then you need 3 or 4 years of like chiro school.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to do this. This is going to be like forever. So he's like, just go into massage. You can do all the things that I'm doing except for the manipulations. And it's up to you to get the education to be where I'm at, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started for me.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can kind of like compound on.
Oh, yeah.
later.
I'm always adding on. I'm always thinking about like, what's the next move I want to do? Am I joint focused? Am I muscle focused? Am I this focused? And it's just trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, like one solid practitioner, you know, like personal trainers, physios, massages, there are so many out there. It's hard to know when you have a good one. And we're going to talk about that as we go down the bend there. But like for me, I blew my back out. Same deal. When I blew my back out, I almost gave up until Curtis,
2016, 2015,
probably like 2013, 2014.
that early.
Until I found Curtis Howden, and he's the one that actually rehabbed my back. But I was almost giving up out of the fitness industry until he actually started to work with me. And then all of a sudden that changed the game. And then your whole future starts to spiral out from like an event like that, right? So, well, that's interesting. What did you want to do when you were a kid?
I was going to ask you too. I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Did you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then I stopped at 5'8". So
Things
it's like, well, not looking pretty good for me. There's only a few of them that are
Yeah.
the same height
Like
as me.
Canadian
Or,
ball, maybe.
Did it ever change, or was it always just basketball?
it was always basketball.
Just basketball?
Basketball, and then I got into, I enjoyed racing cars. So university, I actually took automotive technology.
Yeah.
Became a
very
mechanic, so by trade, mechanic. Never really practiced, apart from my own car. My dad owned his garage, and I was just hanging out there. And then Wednesday night, Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
you race. That's it.
So it's
Man.
more like a hobby, and then it became this thing
Yeah.
like you wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, because there's back in the Philippines, there was a lot of money.
Oh, gotcha.
in that industry.
Okay.
Even here, really, and there's not even like there used to be Race City here,
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
right?
Yeah.
Not
don't.
anymore. But even then, like, you know, with things that people want do with their cars and stuff, especially a bunch of kids, you know,
Yeah.
there's still money in there. But I just when I got here and there's really not a, you know, like not a proper place to grow. Like I still wanted that here. 2009 when I moved, I wanted to set up shop here, and I want to race cars here.
Yeah.
And when I got here, that was
Things-
not the scene. That was not the same. Yeah, no.
Not
So I'm
really.
like,
We race horses here, Eljay. Yeehaw!
real horses, not just horsepower.
This is Vancouver or Toronto. Come on.
Yeah. We all had basketball in common. I really enjoyed basketball when I was growing up too,
Yeah.
but I actually didn't like going to practice at the community nets because I didn't like sharing the court. And I, like if I was playing by myself and three guys came up, I'm like, oh, I don't want to play with strangers. Like,
Interesting.
so my dad set up a basketball net in the garage, and my like 3-pointer was like phenomenal. Like
Right.
because I often just played by myself. I was good at handling for skill, but like against other players, it started like handling by yourself versus handling against an opponent is different.
Completely different.
Absolutely.
But I used to just sink buckets, man, just like all the time because that's all I would do is just the net was right
That's
in
what
the
you
backyard.
practiced. That's what you practiced.
Yeah, I could shoot all the time.
I was the complete opposite. I just wanted to like play against other people and like either get
Me
beat up by
too.
other people or
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was shy though. I was shy and I was pretty introverted, pretty lower confidence during those years. For me growing up, when I first grew up, I wanted to be an actor. I was very outgoing, and then as I like hit school and like, you know, when school hits and things change, like I stopped being so outgoing because I had bad experiences and things like that. But then I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I'm really like lots of animals love me. Like I'm really good with animals and dogs and cats and stuff. But the sciences were just school is overwhelming to me, honestly. Kind of same thing. Like when you're like, oh, maybe I'd go the Cairo route. And I was like, man, if I went to a veterinarian route, like I don't want to be in school for 10 years and like hundred thousands of
So
dollars of
much
debt.
debt.
Yeah, it was too overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I didn't go down that route. And same thing, my parents didn't like the fact that I became a trainer. They're like, oh, this is just going to be a phase for him. And all of a sudden I was buying a house and things, and they're like, wait, is he making it? Like, is he doing well?
10 years later,
Yeah.
it's still
Well,
doing
10 years
the
ago,
same
people
thing.
thought fitness was like a joke. It's like, oh, you're just working out.
Unreal.
But
Yeah.
now everyone's working out. Right?
And then that's when I got into fitness. Was 10 years ago. I got a membership. I was working at the airport. I got a membership at Sunridge, World Health Sunridge,
Yeah.
2009, and that's where it started. Transformed my body, learned about movement. Actually, not much movement then. Just all I knew was bend and extend. Really, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
And then like eat more meat apparently and
Push,
oatmeal and
pull.
eggs.
Yeah.
Okay,
Protein, creatine.
I can do that. I
chest
can do
day
that,
every day, no
right?
pecs, no sex, you know.
I wanted that
protein
shirt so
shake
bad. I wanted a no pecs, no sex shirt so bad. Okay. Back on track.
Yes.
Back on track here. We wanted to ask you again. I don't think everybody has a solid difference between what's the difference between
it's the difference,
massage, between chiro, between
Right.
physio, and in my experience when I deal with Gen Pop, it's almost irritatingly frustrating to me. You worked with Dr. Ray, who's my chiro. He helped you a lot.
Yep.
He's helped you a lot.
Yep.
We all
Absolutely.
Dr. Ray from Dynamic YYC.
Learned a lot from him.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
And for me, his chiropractic skill was game changing when I saw him. I saw chiropractors back in the day, and they're just like, they would use a little remote scanner on my back and be like, oh, look, the scanner says there's red marks. The red is inflammation and yellow is not too bad. So they use this technology like to add flair, I think, in my opinion.
I've never even
They're
experienced
like,
that
oh,
before.
look at this technology we have. It scanned your back and it's got these muscles. So they'd be like, crack, crack, crack.
Yeah.
10 minutes, $80. Have a nice day.
See you next week.
Come back
Yeah.
3 times a week.
Yeah. Here's your 12-week plan.
I got in a motorcycle
3
accident.
times a week.
I got in a motorcycle accident and they wanted to see me 3 times a week for weeks. And they were especially milking it because insurance was paying for it. But when I saw Dr. Ray, like, he didn't even crack me.
No.
He assessed me, like worked with my back, and there was like 0 cracking at all. And then I asked him, I was like, are you going to crack me? And he's like, do you like to be cracked? And I was like, I don't know, hit or miss. I don't know. Like some people love it. Some people love getting cracked,
I
like
don't-
from
I don't
chiro.
like it.
And I was like, I don't really care. And he's like, in my opinion, you don't need it. So do everything that we did.
100%.
It's like muscle testing and range conditioning. So my tangent here is there's a huge difference between good massages and bad massages, chiros, physios. But what's the difference between all of them in your opinion?
I guess to break it down, like the traditional chiro would be, like you said, crack him, stack him, see you next week. the traditional physio would be like, here's an ice pack, here's a heat pack, here's some stim. I'll see you in like 15 minutes, and you're just gonna sit there for a few minutes, and then I'm working on like 5 different people at once.
Yeah, and physio to me, when I think of physio, I think of like little tiny therabands and tiny minuscule movements, like, oh, just do this, boop 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 boop, like tiny movements. And it's not like, it doesn't feel
all
rewarding.
banded movements and it's very low grade stuff.
Yeah, which
makes sense because their profession works with the healthcare so much that it does make sense that they're so low grade, but they don't know how to go beyond that. Traditional massage is obviously like closed room, dark room, some like candlelit maybe, and like really soft and like relaxing, I guess.
Which there's value.
There's tons of value in it. Like when I first started, I was like, this is stupid. This is no point in doing this. But you know, the value is your nervous system. You're damping your nervous system. You're telling your body to relax. And that's a huge thing that people, especially right now, don't know how to do.
Yeah.
For the new age chiro, like you said, Dr. Ray from Dynamic, amazing. Like he knows that you don't need to adjust because you're not even an expert yet. Why would they adjust you? Yeah. Like why would they do that to you? Let's just do other stuff. So he spends 25 to 45 minutes with you one-on-one. I love that. And then he's gonna he doesn't even want to see you every week. Sometimes he'll be like, let's go 2, 3, 4 weeks. Traditional, or I guess new age physio is also the same now. Everyone's kind of like heading in the same direction of like, let's joint load, let's do a little bit of soft tissue work, let's get the person stronger. Yeah. For me, massage, I really want to break it down now into kind of like I said, it's a nervous system piece. I love that piece where like I want to dampen their nervous system so that they can relax, but then I also want to really jack up their nervous system afterwards. And like get the right tissues firing that I want them to do, and I want that joint to work properly, etc.
Yeah. Something that I love when I work with either you or Dr. Ray is honestly like the fact that you guys are like confident enough to admit that you don't have all the answers.
That's exactly
if we're working with something like, some injury I had in my shoulder, my rib cage or something, to actually just hear you be like, you know what? I'm not really sure. I'm going to talk to some other some colleagues, and I'm going to do a little bit more research.
Or not afraid to try a couple of things. Like, let's see if this works.
Yeah, to have somebody that's just like pretends that they have all the answers and have a pure confidence and like it's, I don't know.
It doesn't work that great,
Yeah, it might make a person who's unaware feel like secure, like, oh, I'm good, I'm in good hands because this guy knows everything he's doing. But then after they do it for 3 to 4 sessions and they see no progress, then they're going to be like, oh, I went to Chiro and it's garbage because it didn't work. This guy said he knew what he was doing, but it didn't fix. So clearly I'm unfixable.
Exactly.
And then people give up. Whereas if you just say like, hey man, I'm not really sure, so we're going to have to experiment and play around and work with it.
Definitely.
Right?
So the people that we work with, Gen Pop, mostly me and Eric, when do they know who to see when?
Yeah, good question.
Do we go to a chiro? Because whenever I tell them, I'm like, well, there's a little bit of tension here. Why don't you see a massage? Even I don't see. I'm gonna say this now. I haven't gone for a massage in probably 4 years.
That's why your traps are so big.
That's why. And I have to
find your arms so big.
Just like
that's why you bailed on your lift the other day. Just kidding.
But yeah, who?
This is also a very tough question. I would say the first thing is you need to determine what outcome you want from that person. Like, are you going to this massage person to relax? Are you going to this massage person to get worked on and improve on something? Are you going to see this chiro to actually get your adjustment and then leave? Like it's so subjective, I would say.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, what would make you feel good as a person right now? Trying to find someone that's good is also a tough question because someone that's good in maybe like the CrossFit or weightlifting industry might not be good in the running industry. And that's a different thing because they don't understand maybe they don't understand the full mechanics, and maybe they're too biased and like, okay, you got to do this to fix this. So really it's just trying to find the person that understands you, that's listening to you, and that's going to work with you.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, like if there's chiro, physio, or massage. I just want to see someone that's going to like, we're on the same page, and same with trainers, right? You guys are they're trying to look for someone that's on the same page with them, that's going to provide the service, that's going to help them with this outcome that they're trying to find.
Yeah, because from my experience, and I think again mentioning Dynamic YYC here with Ray and Kobe, like I've been so used to. I think I started out with you guys when I went to Sunridge, and like I see a couple of people broken. I'm like, do you guys see someone? Why don't you guys see Ray or Kobe, and then they'll try and assess you, and then if they can't help you, they'll direct you to whoever they think they can help. But they were the ones that were available to me. They were like for me the first line of defense. Like go see him, and then he'll direct you somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. To me, like a professional, it's go see somebody that might be a trusted ally of somebody you know. So like if you're asking me who to see, I'd say go see Newton.
Exactly.
And if Newton just recently saw one of my clients, two of my clients, and he said, there's some things going on here that I would like another opinion on, he sent them to Ray.
Yeah.
So now, and then we're all slooped in the same email. So we have Newton emailing Ray, and Ray emails me and Newton, and we have this like line of communication where you have all these professionals working together to fix you.
So I'm going to try and go back to my question. Who do we send them? Like, how do we know as a professional? For me, I'm asking for me.
Yeah.
How do I know if I should send my client to you?
Right.
Or to a chiropractor, or a physio, or a G, or like a
GP.
I think the best way to think about it is who can provide the diagnosis so that you know what you're working on. As a massage therapist, I unfortunately cannot diagnose anyone. I cannot give them a professional opinion of like, this is
what's wrong with
frozen
you.
shoulder. I can just be like, my opinion is that, you have limited range of motion here, X amount. Let's maybe work on this. But if you send someone to a chiro physio, they can provide an actual diagnosis, even though they're not x-raying or ultrasounding anything.
Okay.
They can diagnose because they have all that education base, and then they can let them know. So I would actually send people to chiro physio first, so they can get that diagnosis. And then that's why I like to work with Ray or Hannah at Dynamic YYC or Chase, is because I'll send them to them. They'll give me a diagnosis. Then I'm sure that what we're working on is in the right direction,
work with them,
and then we're working back and forth again.
Yeah. So
that answers my question. Thanks.
yeah, that's a good question for sure. To me, I think it's ultimately like having again that trusted team of professionals and not have paralysis by analysis. Like, who I see. And to me, sometimes it boils down to like financials. Sometimes it boils down to benefits.
Exactly.
Sometimes benefits is just the easiest way to get your foot in the door. But I think getting your foot in the door is just get that foot in the door and get the process started. Like for me, being injured, it's debilitating. It's like your body is against you almost when something's wrong. Like my shoulder over Christmas time, I couldn't like reach to put my jacket on, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so annoying. This is so frustrating. It's debilitating. My body's not like it's fighting me. But just to like get the ball rolling is an important piece. So we talked about my rant anyways when we were talking about injuries. We talked about suffering. Yeah, 2 weeks ago we talked about suffering, and that was you're either going to suffer from activity or you're going to suffer from inactivity, and you should choose wisely. Because in my rant, I don't know if you listened to that episode, but it's you can be 50 to 60 years old and your body is now fighting you and it's against you because of inactivity, or you're very active, very capable. You might have some aches and crannies, like nooks and crannies, but you're still capable. And those nooks and crannies came from activity. Like, my shoulder smoked from windsurfing, but you know what? Like, I'm still capable of doing everything. So the rant, though, was about when do people stop training? Because some people let that injury, like, injured my shoulder, so I'm going to stop exercising, like, indefinitely. So what I wanted to know is when would you just, like...
Or is there a point where you would tell, as a professional, that you would tell someone,
stop working out,
stop right now, and actually don't go to the gym?
And we're saying stop everything. I'm saying stop like walking on the treadmill, stop everything.
When the pain is causing you to, when you really have just like a pain of like above 7 out of 10, maybe you should stop certain things. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like a lot of people will just suffer and just keep going, obviously, but that creates compensation in their body, and you're adapting to this compensation, and it's changing how your body's functioning. You're teaching your body to maybe use certain pieces of your body that you shouldn't be using to do your daily activities. That's really when you should be stopping and then reevaluating, okay, what do I need to change in my daily life or programming or something to keep going.
This is a tough question though, because a pain scale on your shoulder, is a 7 out of 10. But in my opinion, you can still go and hit a leg day.
What if my legs are fine?
Yeah, you can go hit a leg day. So
it's always about, I would say your first step is changing your exercises to fit your pain. So if say you have a knee pain, but you can squat to maybe a quarter squat, there's no shame in quarter squatting, because there's pain.
You
there.
heard it here first.
Exactly.
Boom.
Just do it. Like, this is your way of keep loading the
That's
muscle,
funny.
keep your body moving. Just do it. Just adjust your exercises so you can keep working out.
Yeah.
You know, I've had powerlifters come in. They're like, "Oh, my elbow hurts when I go to the full bottom of the bench press position." I'm like, "Okay, let's throw a 2-inch block on there. Just do your block presses until we figure this injury out."
Yeah.
Right. So it's just readjusting your exercises first, and then also determining what kind of pain you have. You know, like a lot of people are like, "I have pain." The first question I always ask is, what type of pain?
Yeah.
You know, there's dull pain, there's aches,
Sharp
pain,
stabbing,
burning.
there's that burning, like nervy pain. Let's
achy.
Let's figure out what pain it is. Is it sharp? If it's not sharp, then
You're fine.
It's okay. yeah.
Get
Just
to
keep
it.
going. Keep going.
Stop being soft.
Yeah.
Just
Your pain is your body's kind of like check engine light.
Yeah.
If you don't figure this out, something's gonna happen.
I like that.
Whether it's like adaptation or
should
you
get my car checked.
ankle checks on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess in the broad scope, I like the idea of like, you know, a 7 out of 10 pain. For me, I tell clients when they're at like, if something's tweaked, if they're like, oh, my ankle's causing problem or my knee, and I'm like, well, where's the pain scale at? A scale of 1 to 10. They're like, oh, it's a 2. I'm like, okay, if it goes anything beyond a 3, if it starts climbing, but if we're doing lunges and it's staying at a 2, we'll maybe just kind of work through that and let it keep rolling. I guess for me, if it's a big injury, like your back or something that's a really big joint, something that's really blown out, maybe I can understand taking a complete time off or like complete step away from exercise. But the only reason I would recommend somebody to step away from exercise or some form of exercise or healthy living would be an illness. Like you have the flu or you have some other serious condition. But for me, this stemmed from, I've had people in my life, and so has Eljay. We've been trainers for 10 years plus, where they're like, oh, I tweaked my elbow, so I'm going to just stop entirely. And I'm like, man, I busted bones in my foot, and then I just started doing upper body. As soon as my foot recovered, I broke my finger. And then I was like, damn it. So I started doing legs.
Now it's my legs.
Yeah, so like I don't think like these things of excuses of like, oh, I'm in a cast, so I'm going to call it quits. Like I was crutching around the gym when my foot was broken. I was doing skin the cats, muscle ups on the bars, like you're still capable. For me, it's, I don't know.
I think it's still being a trainer for the last 10 years. Like, you know when someone's in actual pain. You know when someone's in actual pain, and you know, not that we can professionally recommend them to stop or not, but that's why I think that question earlier was like, when someone's in pain or they're uncomfortable in movement, who do we send them to? Why do we do that? And then, yeah, I think the pain scale, if you can tolerate it and it's not sharp and it's not like a major joint and like it doesn't restrict that much of the range that you have, I think, I don't know, personally I would push through. But again, that's not for everyone, especially the ones that we train. We have like north of like 60, 65. They're a little bit more brittle than
can their life handle them pushing through this? Because it's not just like a physical thing sometimes. Like now you have an emotional piece to it and a nervous system piece. If they're constantly injured, their brain is constantly telling them, let's increase cortisol.
Stresses,
stress.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then now your body's in a fight or flight mode and it's always contracted. And then now you're asking your body to do more and it's going to contract even more.
I like the fact that you brought in the mental game to that. Almost because, again, like injuries almost have a memory.
Huge.
And they're like, anyone who's been injured and before has experienced it. Like when my back was smoked and Curtis had me starting to build myself back up, I would deadlift and be like, oh, I think I felt it. Oh, like they're almost scared. Like people with their shoulder injury, they're like, oh, I'm nervous to go back there. And like things will twitch. Like that's what my shoulder experienced. I was doing overhead work and I could be like, it feels unstable. It doesn't feel good. Like that memory piece.
Yeah.
Remembering those injuries is interesting.
It's huge.
And to add to that, I think it's important for people to, if you get injured or you recovered from an injury or any pain, go back to it slowly. Just slow down. You don't have to perform at 100% again from what you did like 3 weeks ago before you got injured. Just slowly build that up again. Build up that confidence, just so that memory, that pain,
Exactly.
doesn't
Finding
kick back in.
pain-free movements will teach your body to like actually move again.
Yeah,
because then you're not scared anymore.
Are you able to talk a bit more about that memory that injuries have?
Yeah, so your nervous system and I guess your whole body, it's just created of cells, and your cells have like a 24-hour turnover. So then, which that means is like, okay, so a cell has 24 hours to live. So then when we're trying to reprogram the cell for the next cycle of life, you're just trying to feed different inputs into it. So if you say you have a painful input into your body, which is also made out of cells, right? It's going to remember for that 24 hours. And then if we're not continuously trying to get you out of that pain,
You can't reprogram it.
exactly. We're just trying to put on layers and layers and layers of like, okay, here's pain, here's not pain. Okay, let's get that area that was pain a little bit better. Now your brain's like, okay, this actually works now.
A little bit better.
Nerve system relaxes a little bit. Tendons chill out. Muscles chill out a little bit more. Then you're going to slowly reprogram more of that.
Would you say that is kind of goes hand in hand with like ending on a win? So like when I'm doing weightlifting with clients, I would rather them end on a win, like on a good clean. So if I was like, okay, Newton, we're gonna do 2 sets, like you're gonna do three more reps of a clean, and it was a little bit of a shoddy day, and you did 1 rep that looked mediocre, and then your second rep looked perfect, I might be like, nope, stop, end on that perfect rep.
I don't know. I wouldn't say either or is ideal. Because in my like past weightlifting experiences, if I had a terrible like last lift, that makes me more motivated for my next lift.
Yeah.
So then
That's person specific.
that's very person specific. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So it's like, does that change with the pain side of things? Probably not. I would rather have that person pick something after their workout to just calm themselves down, because we're always amping up. Can we calm them down afterwards?
Yeah.
Before they go live their life and get stressed out more, because now we just made them really stressed out. Can they just not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This was interesting to me, the brain connection to the tissue, because have you heard of phantom limb syndrome?
No.
Phantom limb syndrome, you know what I'm talking about? I had to Google it right now because I couldn't remember what it was, but it's like an amputee. If somebody like gets their hand chopped off, they can still experience hand pain. Their brain remembers, and it's like, oh my God, my hand hurts, but it's not there anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, you can Google that, phantom limb syndrome. I honestly saw it from TV first. Like Dr. House MD was like my favorite show when I was like when it first came out. I loved that show, and he actually helped somebody.
I need to watch it again.
It's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
There was an episode though where this guy had like he was an amputee, and amputees still experience pain because the brain still thinks that it's talking to that tissue.
Exactly.
Which is weird.
It's not there anymore.
Super weird. Okay. Well, I think our last question, I think we talked about a lot. I don't know if you have anything else to add, but our last question that we want to talk about is, how do you know when you actually have a good massage RMT?
Good massage. Let's see.
What would be some key indicators if you're working with a professional who...
In my opinion, no matter if it's like a sport rehab massage or even just a relaxation massage, as long as they're giving you a pre-treatment assessment, I think that's a better massage therapist than anyone that doesn't.
Like every time you see them?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Just because like that gives them the direction of what they're doing. It's like if you're just going in for a massage, what's their like, what are they doing? Are they just gonna rub you down from top to bottom?
Know what the outcome of the massage is.
Like, are they trying to work on this certain pain limitation or this joint limitation? So,
or are they just trying to relax?
Exactly. But either way, let's get a little bit of assessment in so they know what tissues are bothering that person or what's causing pain or just anything.
Yeah.
Right. Just so it's not a typical, let's just spend 5 minutes on this one. Let's spend 5 minutes on this muscle.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more targeted in my mind.
So you really like having a specific outcome for each
specific
massage
outcome, I would
and
say,
a proper assessment.
And as long as you have good communication with them.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't want to see someone where I go see them for one massage and I never hear back from them ever again. Like I want to, for when I have a massage therapist, I want to, stay in contact with them because I want them to continuously work with me because I want to work with them.
Yeah.
Right. Even with personal training with you guys want to have that good rapport with them.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to keep you back with them. Yeah.
That being said, majority of your clients, or do you call them patients?
I don't even know. Yeah. I guess our terms are patients, but then I honestly don't care. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He calls them friends.
Yeah. When I talk to other, hey, bud. When I talk to other practitioners, I'll be like, okay, patient. When I talk to like just Gen Pop, I'll be like, client.
I guess.
Just makes more sense.
I guess.
Yeah.
I totally forgot what I was going to ask, but it was more in...
I have a question for you then.
Yes.
In your mind, what would you determine as a good practitioner, whether it's RMT, Chiro? What's a factor for you?
I'm a little ashamed right now because I haven't seen one in a while.
Maybe you should.
Have you
I
guys
will.
had?
What would you expect
will.
then? That's perfect. You
Yeah.
haven't been to one for a while, so what would you expect? What do you
I
want to
almost
see?
want an instant result. Like if I go in there and let's say my
You
this is-
millennial.
this-
You stupid millennial.
now, right? Like if
Instant gratification.
let's say I was talking about my ankle earlier.
Yeah.
My expectation is this guy's gonna assess my ankle,
Yep.
see what's going on, and then he'll fix me right there.
Yeah.
And then I will be able to walk pain free at least for a week or so, or be able to continue with the things that I want to do. And then if it starts bothering me again, I'll give him an update and see what's up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
In our field, this is called treating the symptom, so that they can have a little bit of relief and
Yes.
carry about their day.
Yep.
That's a good business ploy too, because you're always just treating.
That's
the
what I was
symptom.
going to say. Yeah, if you're always
But,
just fixing it
But
temporarily.
it's actually really good to keep into your practice too. Like I used to be like, okay, I don't want to fix a symptom
Yeah.
and like fix the problem. But now it's like, okay, I actually need to fix the symptom so they can feel better, and then also come back. But then now I'm going to sprinkle in more things so they can fix the problem and let them know this is
gotcha.
actually the symptom.
Okay.
This isn't the actual.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
not the
Yeah, exactly.
With my training, in personal training, I would call that giving somebody what they want while giving them a slice of what they need. For that,
sprinkle,
some people
yes.
love like their abs burning, or some people love to sweat. If somebody really loves their abs burning, and I educated them, LJ, if you do a lot of sit-ups and a lot of core work, it's not going to get you a six-pack. We need to get your diet in check. Do you understand? Yeah, but I still enjoy the feeling of doing core work. Okay, so I might give him more core work than I would give the average client.
Right.
So I would give LJ his workout, but at the end, I blast his abs because that's what makes him feel good. And at the end, he's like, "Oh man, that feels good."
Yeah.
text you
Even
2
though,
days later. Oh, I'm still having a hard time.
yeah, some people,
out of bed.
same thing. Like if some clients correlate. Curtis and I are going to talk about that on Fitness or Fiction on. Eljay and I have talked about it. Like what actually makes a good workout? Do you need to sweat? Do you need to be sore?
Right.
Some people are like, I need to be sore to have a good workout. So sometimes I'll make someone sore just for the fact to make them sore, so they know like, oh, it feels good. That's treating the symptom.
Yeah.
For me, having a good practitioner as a trainer and as a client, what I want to expect or what I want to see is I want an assessment at the start of every sesh. And I honestly, now the game's been changed for me, is that I want some homework to do.
Yeah.
Me and you have discussed whether you do it or not is one thing.
Yep.
Education piece.
Education.
An education piece, and I want homework. So Newton has seen me multiple times and he's given me homework, and I apologize, Newton. I haven't always done the homework.
Okay, that's life.
That is life, but I still want that homework.
100%.
To me, it is a value piece.
Yeah.
When you give me program, like when you give me homework, like I want you to do this, this, and this, there's a value to that to me, and it feels like the ball's in my court. So not only have you helped fix me, but you've also told me what to do to maintain fixing myself.
Exactly.
And if I don't get better, it's on me now, not on you.
Exactly.
And then we can discuss like, oh, Newton, yeah, my shoulder's not better. Well, were you doing your homework? If I say, yeah, it's not on you. It just means that maybe we need a different approach. Whereas if I didn't do the homework, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I most definitely didn't. And you're like, that's okay. Well, we'll keep working on it,
working
right?
on it, exactly.
So for me, it's like assessment, and it is homework and education at the end. I want the good start, and I want the good end.
Right.
Not the happy ending, LJ.
None of that.
I didn't say.
I don't do any of that.
LJ was just burning the whole time, just like,
When do we ask this question?
You know, it depends on how much money they're gonna give me.
oh,
there
my
you
goodness.
go. There you go.
So that's good practitioner to me. I would say, even again, I saw Hannah and Ray Ray at Dynamic YYC, and that's the game changer for me. I like the fact that there's good communication. They listen to me.
Yep.
Even if I'm going in with random tweaks and like random things or random questions, they listen to me.
Yep.
And there's always a homework prescription at the end, and it's normally through an email or an app or something. And
There's got to be some sort of continuous thing.
yeah, and I'm torn on this. I like appreciate a follow-up appointment.
Yep.
And that's not something that so that's not something that Ray Ray does. And I love Ray Ray, but Ray Ray, when I first saw him, he was like, cool, bro, well, see how it feels, and like do your homework and let me know down the road, like hit me up 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
And to me, I wasn't used to that. I was like,
I want to see you next week, bro.
well, not even next week, but I was more like, well,
Are you just giving up on me?
shouldn't we just
Yeah.
book one? Because the ball was in my court, and maybe that's just a me thing.
Yeah.
Some people I think would appreciate that, whereas to me it was unusual. But that's just a me thing. Is I liked rather having a follow-up appointment. So I saw you for an injury, and at the end of the session, I'd be like, why don't we just book it 3 weeks from
something.
now,
Yep.
and that way I don't have to think about it anymore. It's just locked in.
Yep.
So I think that's the therapist has to flex to the client, whether they, and we discussed this actually.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Where you're like, I asked you if you did that, and you're like, well, it depends on the person. Yeah. Some people want to be like, come back when you're ready, and some people want that locked in session.
I think that's pretty much the same in our industry as a personal trainer. Some clients need a little bit more attention. Other people, you give them a program and it's done. Like you already know, and they don't even need to talk to you, and they talk to you just in your session next week or a couple of weeks.
Well, with me, it's like I have a really I have a poor business model because I don't actually want to see you again. That's my business. That's my mindset in like rehab. I don't want to see you again. I just want to give you the tools so that you can just live your life, and then when something pops up again, you come see me. Yeah. But it's a poor business model because I'm not trying to rebook you every week.
Actually, I don't think it's a poor business model. I think it's a great business model because now, well, this person, Newton, helped me. If you're in pain, you should see him because he's the one who's going to fix you, no one else. I don't think it's a poor business model, to be honest. As trainers, it's the same. It's like, have a trainer. If you've never had one, have one for 6 months to a year. After that, technically, you should not need us anymore. You should have learned.
We gotta go. It's 4:20. Thank you for listening.
Oh shit!
Eljay has to go.
One day, part 2. Yeah,
all right. Really appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. See, good conversation.
We'll keep
just
going
flies. You know where to find us. Yeah, you know where to find us on Instagram, all that jazz. Newton's on Instagram. We've shared his post.
We love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Beep boop.